Am I the butthole for saying I no longer trust my brother or his wife around my kid? Okay, so you'll need some context here. Fist. I am a single father to a 5-year-old son. His mother isn't involved. She was incredibly manipulative and verbally/emotionally abusive. For a few reasons, the courts awarded me full custody of our kid. She was allowed visitation, but basically said I get full custody or nothing at all, and hasn't made any attempt to contact our son for 3.5 years. TBH, I prefer it this way. She's a very toxic person who has repeatedly demonstrated an unwillingness to change, and she runs with some people I don't want my son around. If she comes back and demonstrates a willingness to put effort to be better for our son, she can see him, but until then, I'm very on board with her staying away. I found being a single parent difficult and at times have needed a lot of help/support. This help has often been provided by my older brother and sister-in-law. They've done things like taking me to appointments, cared for kiddo while I worked/went back to school, helped with bills/groceries when I was on my own financially, paid for kiddo to do activities I couldn't afford with his friends to keep him from being left out. They've honestly been an absolute lifeline for me, and I just want to establish off the bat that I am incredibly grateful for all they've done for me. During Lockdown 3, brother and sister-in-law have been watching kiddo while I work. They're both WFH, and have absolutely refused to let me pay them for it. Well, during this time, my son has been asking more and more questions about his mom, which I've done my best to answer in age-appropriate ways. He's also been getting upset about her not being around more and more. It really sprang out of nowhere, so I was confused until a few days ago, when he said Auntie Laura kept telling him things about Mummy, and they were different to things I had told him. I asked what kinds of things she'd said, and I'll spare you the details for the sake of character count, can clarify in comments, but it was incredibly inappropriate stuff. I'm so angry about this. My kid is upset, I'm in a very awkward position. My sister-in-law went behind my back, I confronted she and my brother about it, and they both got very defensive, saying I can't expect her to badmouth her friend and I'm being unreasonable. I said that it's not unreasonable to want to protect my kid, and that they've demonstrated that I can't trust them around him. I've even stopped letting them watch him, and my neighbor is doing it instead. They're really upset with me. My brother called me an ungrateful butthole, and my sister-in-law says she can't believe I'm being like this over one little thing after all they've done. Am I overreacting? Edit. Realizes I deleted a kind of important point for character count. My ex and sister-in-law were friends at secondary school and college, which is how my ex and I met. They're not as close as they used to be, but they're still casual friends. Edit 2. People said I should include this from the comments on the post, so here it is. My ex made a lot of accusations about me that were provably false during the trial, part of the reason she didn't get custody. This includes accusing me of being a serial cheater. I wasn't and could prove I was in other places at times when she said I was with other people, accusing me of causing an injury she got in a car accident I wasn't even present for, and saying that I was the one who was emotionally abusive. She told him that the reason his mom and I fell out was because I felt like she was very unkind to me, and Mummy felt like I had other girlfriends, hurt her, and was the unkind one. She didn't say any of the accusations were true, but she didn't say they weren't either, and obviously a 5-year-old doesn't have the critical thinking skills to figure it out for himself. Not so much that she lied herself, she just repeated my ex's lies. Not the butthole. Your ex was so horrible that the courts didn't give her any custody. Hard to badmouth such a person. Sister-in-law placed her need to talk up her friend above the needs of a child that was clearly becoming more upset and anxious the more she talked. You're doing what it takes to protect your child. Clearly sister-in-law wants to protect someone else. And even if sister-in-law somehow thought the friend was different, she still hasn't seen her own child for nearly 4 years, of her own volition. She's a crafty parent for that, at a minimum. I wouldn't trust either of them around my hypothetical child. Yes, I know, right? Sister-in-law is supporting ex. Is it possible that they were only helping you so that if they ever need help, they can hold this over you? If so, cut contact. Seriously. It does sound like this. Not the butthole. I can't understand why the brother would think it was okay for his wife to do this. Not the butthole. My older sibling Seth's mom convinced my abuelo that my dad was doing hard drugs and was abusive, so he bought them bus tickets and they dipped. My dad has only ever smoked pot in his life, kidney issues, and was so broken that his dad thought that of him. Manipulators are good at what they do. With all the talking up of mother's absence, I would be very leery that sister-in-law might try to bring her around while son is staying with them. Trust has already been betrayed. My thoughts exactly. She is setting this up by giving good info about the bio mom so that she can offer to let the child meet with her at their home, likely without the father knowing beforehand. Or maybe set up a domestic kidnapping. The mother did say she wanted full custody or nothing. Agreed. And the friend would be there to assist, conveniently believing it was in the child's best interest. That's exactly where I went with this. NTA, and don't let anyone who is friends or still in contact with X near your child regardless of how you are related or how they help you. Followed by A, but a child needs their mother. I always hate this saying. Makes it sound like just because you've given birth you're essential to the child's well-being. Clearly this mom isn't. She was given a chance and proven herself to be rubbish. You know what kids need? Adults who love them, and sometimes that isn't the biological parents. Some people who give birth to kids are horrible people. It reminds me of the abusive mothers who say, "But I brought you into this world." Like the fact that they got knocked up and gave birth to you justifies everything they say or do to you. It also kind of sounds like an attempt at parental alienation to tell a 5-year-old that the reason his mom isn't around is that mommy felt like daddy had many other girlfriends and was unkind and hurt mommy. This is very concerning. Honestly, original poster didn't mention if brother and sister-in-law have kids too, but even if they don't, how could a person stay friends with someone who purposely doesn't see their child because they're what? Being petty? As a mom, that is so sad for me and inconceivable. NTA, absolutely. You might want to quick consult with a counselor experienced with children and family issues. She/he may have great advice for how to bring up these topics, what language to use, and what info at what ages. Also advice on setting boundaries with your brother and sister-in-law down the line. Kids at age 5 perceive a very black and white world. Understanding shades of gray comes later. At 5, reassurance of love and security, and that he can love and be loved by his mom and uncle and aunt, whether they are in the room with him right now or not. You sound like an awesome dad. Best to you. I agree. You have done a great job and still are doing a great job, but it wouldn't hurt to consult with a counselor to help undo some of the SILS manipulation. Counselors have seen it all and have a great toolkit for this stuff. I second this. You're navigating a difficult situation, and an outside perspective would be helpful. In addition to the thousands of internet strangers, my 2 cents is that while sister-in-law committed a serious error in judgment and breach of trust, this relationship is worth fixing due to their history of being supportive and the close relationship with you and your son. NTA, and you sound like an awesome dad. My worry though is that what if she's been slowly doing this over the entire time that they've been helping, and only now is the boy really old enough to articulate his thoughts on it? My son just turned 5, and while he's made comments about his dad and we separated about a year and a half ago, only just recently had his attitude about us gotten so bad that I felt the need to bring him to a therapist. If I was original poster, I'd honestly be super hesitant to bring son back to Sil, especially because of how she feels she was in the right. There's almost no chance she won't do it again. Also not the butthole, of course. That's a good point. It's possible she made a well-intentioned, but serious, error in judgment, but it's also possible she's been deliberately undermining dad. One is fixable, one isn't. I'm wondering if joint counseling with the brother and sister-in-law would help shed light on the situation. The point would be to talk about boundaries and an age-appropriate message for the son. It sounds like the larger truth is that mom has a mental illness that causes her to say, do and believe unkind things, and that's why it's not possible for son to see her now. She also probably has good qualities and people who love her, which would be healthy to talk about. There's a message in there that all the adults should be able to get on board with, that can be fine-tuned as the child gets older. Also, the relatives' help doesn't change the fact that dad has the final say and should be consulted on important parenting decisions. If sister-in-law is cooperative and understanding through all this, that's a good sign. If dad's instincts tell him something's still wrong, he should put distance between them. I would never trust these people again, and counseling is a waste of money and time for op. Oops, we missed bedtime by half an hour is an accident. Oops, we talked about you like you were dirt to your 5-year-old child is not. I agree. Why is sister-in-law putting her nose in where it doesn't belong? Why is she trying to manipulate Op's son on behalf of his egg donor? She needs to butt the F out. Not the butthole. Your sister-in-law and brother sound like are overriding your great parenting. The courts decided that you're a fit parent and your ex is not. They do not get to override that decision. Also, I would not be surprised if that's why they are so willing and ready to be in this kid's life. Is she feeding info about the son to the ex? I know she hasn't seen him because I'm sure the son would tell. Tinfoil hat theory. If she's really super toxic, could she be using all of this to build a case to get some sort of custody? I don't know if she's changed her mind and now wants to see her son. Saying that other people are the primary caregivers paying for stuff and activities could be a way to prove he isn't fit. NTA, that is an absolute possibility. Especially when you add in how much they have been caring for and paying for the kid. They can spin original poster as a bad parent very easily in family court. It's pretty terrible. Yes, they helped you. Say thank you, but you feel betrayed and move on. If they think you are a butt, okie dokie. They are the ones who lied to your child and emotionally manipulated him. You have nothing to apologize for or feel bad about. You seem to do a phenomenal job at looking out for your kid. She wanted full custody or nothing. Original poster got lucky and caught this in the early stages, but I just about guarantee if he hadn't it would wind up either back in court with more bullcrap charges from the mom or she just cut out the middleman and abscond with the child. She just cut out the middleman and abscond with the child. FTFY. Not the butthole, she knew exactly what she was doing. And the only reason she had anything today is because she got caught. First of all, kids. Tell. ALL. What did she think, it wasn't going to get back to you at all? And your brother-in-law can't be mad at you for your reaction. Past assistance doesn't excuse current bad choices. If they want to excuse her behavior, fine, but they don't get to alter the story and sugarcoat your son behind your back and then be upset they were busted by none other than him. Bummer summer bumblehead, but that's what you get when you play stupid games. Info, did she lie? Kind of. My ex made a lot of accusations about me that were provably false during the custody trial, part of the reason she didn't get custody. This includes accusing me of being a serial cheater. I wasn't and could prove I was in other places at times when she said I was with other people, accusing me of causing an injury she got in a car accident I wasn't even present for, and saying that I was the one who was emotionally abusive. She told him that the reason his mom and I fell out was because I felt like she was very unkind to me and Mummy felt like I had other girlfriends, hurt her and was the unkind one. She didn't say any of the accusations were true, but she didn't say they weren't either, and obviously a 5-year-old doesn't have the critical thinking skills to figure it out for himself. Not so much that she lied herself, she just repeated my ex's lies. Holy crap, yeah, you are definitely NTA. And I'd never have sister-in-law watch him again. This info was way not age appropriate and undermines your position as the only parent in his life. How's she going to tell a 5-year-old that Mummy thought Daddy had other girlfriends? At that age they literally think their parents' names are Mom and Dad, let alone understanding relationship context. The alternate facts defense. NTA. Mommy's belief that you were cheating has no relevance if the evidence doesn't back it up. Is your ex mentally unstable, and if so, does your sister-in-law just refuse to see/acknowledge that? Oh yeah, she's definitely got something going on mentally, but she's nothing diagnosed. She won't go to a psychiatrist or anything, and every time I suggested it I got screamed/cried at for bullying her. Gee. I wonder why you're divorced and she has no custody. You made the right choice then and now with your brother and Sil. Keep up the good work. Not the butthole, your sister-in-law is a huge, boundary-stomping one though, and your brother isn't much better for defending her behavior. All they had to say if he asked them questions about his mom is that he should ask you instead. That's it. Exactly. Sister-in-law didn't have to choose between badmouth her friend and repeating everything the mother accused original poster of. There's a whole, beautiful luscious field of middle ground. Best pick of the field is talk to your father. But other possible choices would have included super vague things like what did your dad tell you? Or sometimes things don't work out. Sil seems to have the same all or nothing mentality that the ex-wife has. 2 peas in a pod, I guess. This Why was sister-in-law talking about the mom with kiddo anyways? Just that feels like crossing a boundary. It is not her place to talk about it at all. Why was sister-in-law talking about the mom with kiddo anyways? Based on the trashy people in my life who have taken sides in other people's divorces? Sister-in-law might have prepping the kiddo to reintroduce him to his mom without op's knowledge or consent. Did not thought about this. Some people are trash. Funny how they'll claim it's for the child's benefit, but it rarely is. This could be the mom has lied to other people. She might have told them she wanted partial custody and original poster got them to give her nothing. Her friend might have then decided to use her access to preserve the relationship between mother and child, or perhaps she was directed to do this by the mother herself. I hope that poor kid doesn't get drawn into more drama because sister-in-law decided to meddle in. Not the butthole, you need to put this in an edit. No way a child of 5 can process that information, especially the way she is presenting it. Your sister-in-law sounds like a crap stirrer. Not the butthole, wow, this is even worse than I was thinking. You're doing the right thing. Please make sure you have a frank conversation with your kid about this. Explain why he's no longer going to his aunt and uncle each day. Explain mommy told some lies, and tell him as much as is appropriate. Without a conversation about his aunt's actions, it may seem like this woman told him something about his mom, so you took him away from her to cover it up. He may not realize she was filling his head with lies. Poor kid, glad your neighbor is able to help. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.